Hi everybody, my name is Brandon Giddens. I'm the writer, director, and producer for the Alone in the Dark series. I also play Marco Fernelli in parts 1, 2, and 3. This will be a director's commentary through parts 1, 2, and 3. And it's cool because in this version of Alone in the Dark, we will be seeing the way that this is supposed to be seen, which is kind of fun. So the sound design, that was me, but capturing the dialogue in part 3 that was released was done by a good friend named Reno. His Healing Light Productions is his production company. It's he's very talented at what he does involving the camera and the sound mixing. So, all right, without any further ado, let's get into this and let's do this thing. It is day 734 since blackout. So the beginning of that, I really wanted to use sound design to make the story bigger than it is, or at least to what I could make it to be. The sound design gave me an opportunity to add in a lot of elements to the story that I wouldn't have been able to add in visually and realistically based off of the fact I was using no budget and just did this with what I had. It allowed me to really paint a picture of what happened before and put a thought into people's heads with what could happen during this story and what potentially continues to happen. Yeah, it's always a good hook as well to start off something with a big boom like that. I don't know if it's just me, but the sun seems to be getting... As we see these shots with the drone overlooking this area called Padova, it's a beautiful, beautiful spot in just the outskirts of Kamloops. And it really set the tone for how I wanted this film to be, how I wanted this project to be portrayed, and where, in terms of location, I wanted this to take place. It was good because the magic of movies and camera work are able to create an illusion and make things seem, to take place in one spot, when in reality they took place in smack dab in the middle of downtown. I thought for the longest time that the world would rebuild and learn from its mistakes, but it turns out their mistakes are just... And yeah, it was kind of fun too when I'm heading down those stairs and clearing that hallway. It was fun because you just set the camera up, and I love the idea of using a single light, as you can see in this shot right here as well. Just one light doing all the work, and in this one just the flashlight. Kind of grinds my gears a little bit with seeing the banding happening, that stuff going on up the screen like that. But again, I made do with what I had. My family's gone, my friends, as far as I know. But yeah, the flashing that you see right there as well, I have these smart plugins, and I use my phone to turn them off and on. And so as soon as I walk into the room, I stop and then run out behind the camera and roll it again, but I click the light on and off to create the illusion of a gunshot, and then I put it into post-production, the sound of a gunshot. And that sound right there was post-production as well. It's funny too, here you see me look to make sure that the light's off, but I click my phone to turn that light off, so that's kind of funny. I love this because it ended off in silence, which was perfect because it started off so abrupt and then it carries on into silence and the sound of walking downstairs. I wanted this part to be very raw and organic. Yeah, there's not much sound design. I basically took the sound right off the shotgun mic mounted on top of the camera. My brother Zachary, he was operating the camera at this point. He just had it on a shoulder rig, and yeah, him and I went through it a couple times, and he just followed me through this. It was a blast. It was fun to try and experiment with pointing the light in certain spots. If you see here, I point the light up so it bounces off the ceiling and lights up the space a little bit more. That was obviously intentional, just to help with the lighting situation. It was kind of a cheat too, the fact that this is called Alone in the Dark. It really allows me to lean into the idea that the whole thing is in the dark. But this whole location right here, it is the Vic, downtown Kamloops. I worked at a cafe while being up there. Kazia is one of the managers there. She is phenomenal, and she also did the behind-the-scenes photos for this project as well. So, and I can't be more grateful to her for helping me get this done and allowing me to film down here, as well as the owner of the Vic, Reeve Harrison. Awesome guy. I can't thank him enough for everything that he's done. But yeah, this scene, I'm establishing the threat in this world that we're painting. The idea that all technology is gone. If you get lucky enough to come across batteries or a little bit of gasoline, that's a luxury in this world.
Hello?
This character, Dylan Ginther, I'm telling you, he killed it. He played it exactly the way that I was looking for it. Him and I have worked on a few projects together now, and just his dedication to the roles that he takes on is so impressive. I love working with him, and it was his idea to put the blood around the mouth and on his hands, and at the time he had his head buzzed, so it just worked out so perfect. His choice in costume as well. When I went down the stairs and we looked around a little bit with the flashlight, we passed it off to me. So now at this point, I have the camera. You know, I'm holding the flashlight at the same time and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, he ends up running at me, and that flashing that we see is post-production. I just threw flashing on the screen. Very, very quick frames of yellow, different shades of yellow and everything like that. So it kind of helped the idea of gun flash, because again, there's no budget here. We're making do with what we got. So yeah, that was a lot of fun to do. The whole world has shut down. It's crazy though, because it's genuinely a beautiful place now. Way more beautiful than it was when the world was up and running. Like, I don't know. With this scene in particular, we're just establishing after that scenario in the story. This is after I leave the space, leave that building. I found it's not safe, it's not secure, so I gotta move on and find a safe place to live. The world has healed itself. It has healed itself, and it's gorgeous. guess it had to take the world shutting down and falling apart and people dying to realize how bad we needed to give the world a break. The point of this last section here, or this section to part 2 technically, is what you guys would have seen, but the point of this one was just to point out the beauty of the earth, the beauty of what we live in, the fact that technology, don't get me wrong, I have nothing against technology. I love every aspect of it, and I'm a technological nerd at times. Cleared. Or there was a way in that I missed. I don't know. I'm just pointing out with this how much we rely on technology and how much we depend on it to get us through the day. People, well, cannibal. That's just it. We have all paid a price now. We were killing our planet, and the world, the universe has fought back, and we cannot fight against that. And this whole thing has proved that to us. So. Our Earth is beautiful, and that's just what I'm trying to point out with this part right here. I'm strictly just showing the views that I came across around Kamloops while we were filming this. I don't know. For now, though, I'm going to set up camp. This shot is one of my favorite shots that we got in the whole project. It's just a beautiful spot in there, and it's really close to where I grew up. As well as this, I would go up here with my brother all the time and just go for a drive or film things, whatever it may be. But honestly, it's like rolling hills in the middle of a semi-desert. It's gorgeous. Yeah, so it's really, really cool. It's beautiful, though. If we just took a step back. Yeah, no, Zach got some nice shots here, and based off the fact that we filmed with the one camera, just a shotgun mic on top of the camera in case we needed some audio, I just cut the sound out for those parts and just put music over top of it. Every once in a while, I'll add in the raw audio and mess around with it in post just to clean it up a little bit. More and more. I wish I could share. It's a great shot from Zach being able to catch me in between the two pieces of lavender. It was a little frustrating at this part because this location was right next to a highway and cars kept driving by, which was a little frustrating. It was tough to get clean, quiet audio in that part. I love that shot too. That's Christopher Nolan inspired. It's that wide shot from behind. I love that shot, but those shots in his movies are beautiful. And yeah, get moving again tomorrow. See where I'm off to and see where I end up finding. My dream used to be a lawyer. Have a corner office in like New York or something, and have a nice home and fancy car. But yeah, we're making do with what we have. For these, I use Final Cut, but I also switched to DaVinci Resolve for, I believe it was part 2 of Alone in the Dark, just so I could have a little bit of flexibility with color grading, but I decided to go back to Final Cut just because I understood it a little more, and it's much easier to use, I find. A lot more streamlined and simple, I guess. I'm not trying to make a career with editing. This is my life now. Man, I thought this was a great spot to end part 2. This man, Marco Fornelli, is just trying to move and find a safe space to live and to hopefully set up his homestead in a sense. my little brother Zachary on the camera again with the shoulder rig. It was cool because we decided to really desaturate this part in particular because I didn't want to go black and white. That was a little extreme, but I wanted this part to really focus on the character of the story. Oh, this shot is another favorite shot of mine. It's very clean and there's lots of depth to it, which is nice. This part particular, I wanted to introduce another character to give a plot or a story or, the objective of this character, because Marco Fornelli up to this point doesn't have an objective. He is just surviving. He doesn't know where he's going. There's nothing really much to him besides he has lost so much. He's lost almost everything, and he doesn't really know what else to live for. The only thing that he's holding on to and that keeps him going is that recorder. He has recordings of his significant other, his partner, on that recording. And that's what keeps him going and keeps him somewhat sane. So this part particular, I'm not a fan of using two cameras at once. I did that for this in particular because all the dialogue throughout part 1, 2, and 3, it was all improvised. There was no written dialogue. And you might be able to tell that in this scene. I wasn't necessarily trying to make the dialogue perfect in this, and I really wanted to capture as much as we could, again, with what we had. And Ruth Brown, she's amazing, and she really brought a lot to this scene, so I'm very, very happy with that. And she really fit the look that I was going for her character. And it just so happened that she braided her hair before, and you can see the waves in it, so it really worked. I thought it really worked well.
Okay.
She's in search of her daughter. She's in search of her child that was taken from her. When the world shut down, the government came and took the children to quote-unquote protect them, just because they are the future of this world and they're the future of how this technological shutdown resolves itself. And that is also why Marco Fornelli, that character, is so surprised when she says that she is looking for her kid, her child, because he hasn't seen kids in forever, because they don't, in Marco's eyes, they don't exist anymore. So the fact that she is looking for her child is a big deal to him.
Looking for my daughter.
Your daughter.
I'll put this down.
And off the bat here, we're able to see that she is sane. She is safe to be around. Marco, he's, if you were to walk up and see a 6'3" dude, a little bigger in stature and whatnot, but, you'd be a little standoffish as well. And I don't blame her for feeling the way that she does with this, being a little bit cautious. But at the same time, she sees that he is okay. He's safe to be around. Unlike our last character played by the great Dylan Ginther, who was obviously not safe to be around. He was cannibalistic and just trying to find his next meal. This is establishing that there are safe people in the world still, and people that are just trying to simply survive, and that is what we are doing here in this scene.
Just seeing you shocked me more than anything.
I applaud Reno for his efforts with the audio. He got the best audio I feel I could have got with the amount of time we had. So I can't thank him enough for that, because we were shooting right next to a waterfall and a stream. So the audio was very, very dirty and loud, and because it was all also improvised, he didn't know who was talking when, he didn't know when to point the mic at a certain character. And this monologue here, it gave Reno a chance to point the mic at Ruth, which was a good little break for the audio.
Caught my first salmon. I think he was more excited than I was.
Yeah, going back to using two cameras. I'm not a huge fan of using two cameras just because the situation that I'm in when I'm shooting these things, I need to then split my mind in so many different directions to make sure that both cameras are as close to matching as possible. And the A7S Mark II is very, very good in low light. And the Blackmagic 6K, Dylan was operating that camera at the time. That's his camera. He was operating that one and getting Ruth's coverage. It's a great camera, great camera. It's just, as you can see, the clarity in the footage between this shot and that shot are quite different because it's not the greatest in low light, at least from my experience.
Here's my location. Come see me. Anyways, I won't bother you with all that, but
Yeah, no, that's okay. Like, yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, it was quite a change for me as well. I think for the majority of people in the world. So, no, where are you going though? Can I help in some way?
why would you want to help me?
I've been alone for years, and I don't know, you got a soul. I haven't seen somebody like that in a long time. I feel like we got to keep people like that close.
But yeah, we were losing daylight really, really quick, really quick. So we were just trying to get through this scene as fast as possible while also trying to maintain as much of a quality as we could, which, was a challenge in itself. And Ruth, great idea to bring some apples to this. It was funny because when we were doing this, she says here there might be worms. Genuinely, there might be worms in that. I think she was saying she picked it from a tree just back down the path that we walked up. So yeah, I totally could have just bit into some worms, and crossed my mind immediately there as soon as I bit into it. I'm like, oh, I hope there's no worms in that.
So, are you going this way?
This project, it was done just out of passion for this and creativity, the want to learn, the want to experiment. Because back when we shot part one, when I shot part one, it was just me sick in my brother's basement suite. I just set up my camera and started filming, but then it grew to part two, which was then me and my little brother Zach filming it. And then part three, which we're seeing here, is me, Kazia, Ruth, Dylan, and Reno, and Zach all filming this. So I can't thank them enough for all helping film this thing.
And I'll be back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Don't do anything stupid.
I won't.
We're also establishing now at the end of part three the fact that there is now going to be an adventure. There's something that both of these characters are going to step into, which is going to grow the story and build it from here. It gives our characters an objective, which is to find Ruth's daughter. And I put this at the end, some text at the end here, just to give a little bit more information on the story, because the fact that this is a short film and there's not much in it to build what happened, what's going on, what the threat is besides the cannibals out there. So I wanted to put some text in there to establish a little bit more. this final shot coming up here is one of my favorites as well. Just the vastness of this shot. It's in a beautiful place called Tobiano, just outside of Kamloops. If you look right down to the end of that lake, that's Kamloops over there. Ruth and I just went out to film this one last scene, which was super easy to do. It was simply just us walking up to that mark, hitting it, and walking down the hill. And it just kind of establishes that we are stepping into a new world now. We are heading off into danger, and yeah, you guys, that is the end of Alone in the Dark. Parts 1, 2, and 3 all put together. This project has been an absolute blast to make. It's taught me a lot about filmmaking, and it has taught me a ton about the world of indie filmmaking, using what you have, asking favors of people, and learning as you go. I can't thank enough the people that helped out on this project. Ruth, Dylan, Reno, Zach, Kazia, Reeve, the city of Kamloops helping out with it. I really appreciate it. Everybody who helped out on this project. It started off as just a little, sit down and see what happens kind of project, but it turned into a bigger project than I originally anticipated. Yeah, guys, if there's anything I can say, though, about filming independently, is use what you have. Don't let the idea of a budget hold you back from making something. Doesn't matter how good it is or how bad it is. It doesn't matter. Just the idea that you're getting out there, you're filming something, and you're creating. You learn as you go, and your projects will continue to get better and better every time you do it. And it's just a lot of fun to go out and make something and to see your work. Don't be afraid to ask favors of people, and the best source of payment for a filmmaker, just a little tip, best source of payment is food for people. If you have food and coffee for people, that's the best way to go if you can't afford to pay them. So yeah, anyways, you guys, I appreciate your time. I thank you so much for sitting down and listening to me rant about this project. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time. And yeah, once again, stay tuned. I have another project that will be coming along very, very soon here. So thank you guys again so much. And yeah, I'll see you around.